Right, so I guess this is the time to show the bike again with all the additional stuff we've done to it. There were a few people asking for and when that is going to be happening, because yeah, this is a continue development, continue involvement and improving a few things. Now I'm gonna go quickly through the stuff that already done, but obviously it's already explained in previous videos, but if you haven't seen it, there you go. I'm gonna go quickly through it. So the bike is 87, is a 2021 model. I bought it new, and I'm not gonna go through all the process, but it was stupid. I've chopped it up. I bought it just to travel with my missus, but then I fell in love with it. I used to race motorcycles, but nothing off-road whatsoever. No experience off-road at all, or very minimum. And the one I had, it was just not even worth mentioning because it's none in comparison to what I've learned. And this is a big shout. I have to shout out to Lee Waters for probably 15th time, and I'm not gonna get tired of it because the guy deserves it. And again, it was not sponsorship at all. I paid him all the money, and so I pay everything from my own pocket. But I was really happy the way he teaches, the way he shows you all the stuff, and then he really teaches you the stuff. He really does. And the only regret I have is that I don't have enough money and time to be with him more often, because every time is a huge progress. But let's go back to the bike. After that, I've done a few races. Well, no, actually, yeah, a few races, couple of events, and I really fell in love with the bike. I had no idea if the other bikes were better. This is not a video about how good the Yamaha is and how bad KTM is, because I love all of them. All of these bikes, they have pluses and minuses. Some prefer KTM, some prefer Yamaha for some reason. If you prefer Yamaha just because it says Yamaha, that's stupid. If you prefer KTM just because it says KTM, that's also stupid. Test the bike, see what it's like, get some experience about it, and then you can make your mind. I like the KTM. I've tested a guy that I met at least 2 days ride out we had. I met a guy with an 890. He kindly let me test it for only 5 minutes, go around the car park in a couple of things, and I immediately liked it. I think that if I had a KTM 790, well, let's say an 890, I don't know 790, the Enduro R or Adventure R, I'm talking. The 890, I found it that it was very good. Even me, I'm not tall, I'm a short ass, 175 centimeters. Not shoulders, but I'm not in a tool side. I found that the riding position was spot on, was good. I wouldn't have to modify the fuel tank. I wouldn't have to do all the stuff I've done on a T7. And this is something that, you have to bear in mind. The ergonomics on the bike is very good. The engine position, all the components is very good. Now, of course, there is this, reliability issues with the KTMs, and personally I don't have experience with that, so all we know is the stuff on the internet, blah blah. If it's true or not, I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything because I don't have a personal opinion, because I don't have a personal experience with them. The way they ride, I liked it. They are much shorter than a T7, and you can feel it. They're very happy to pop wheelies, so they're very playful. Probably more than the T7. T7, I think the most stable at speed, I will say, but again, I haven't tested it. The engine is slower, you can feel the difference that the engine is slower. So, is it worth it, risking the reliability for the better ergonomics? I don't know. I have no idea. What I know is that I have a T7, and I extensively modify it, and I think by now this should be one of the best T7s around, like in the fucking world. I'm not shitting you, because the money I spent, the development I've done, and I really study this bike, and I've really tried to improve it, test it, improve it, test it, improve it. I've done an extensive season of racing last season, and I think I'm at the spot where the bike is, I think, is perfect for the T7. There's no such a thing as a perfect motorcycle, but for a T7, as the T7 goes, I don't think I can modify it or improve it even more. This is just, is pretty much a perfection as a T7 goes. Well, let me show you. So quickly, obviously, you notice that the biggest thing is the fuel tank, the lack of the fuel tank. The fuel tank is supposed to be here, is big. This is the ergonomics we were talking about. Now, for the medium or shorter guys, that isn't an issue. And I'm talking off-roading stuff. I'm talking racing, I'm talking enduro, I'm talking rallies. I'm not talking travel, because travel, standard T7 is absolutely perfect. Leave it as it is. Don't even touch the suspensions. I had the standard suspensions, which now, they are actually on my 750. 33 years old 750, and they fit perfectly. Yeah, I got a bigger disc, single disc conversion as well, but this is from the R1 310mm, but let's not go into that. So standard suspensions are good. As a matter of fact, I'm using them on another bike. If you travel, if you do light off-road, leave them alone. If you want to do something more, they're absolutely rubbish, of course, we all know this. That's why if you get yourself a KTM out of the box, the Adventure R, this is the one I tested, it seems to be a very good package. T7, it's not. However, T7 costs less money. The difference is quite big. So if you have the chunk of money prepared to put towards the bike, you can get yourself a T7 and do the suspensions. And then you have a very nice and complete package, which, well, in my opinion, the bike is very good. Has some flaws. It's not perfect like other bikes, but is a good balance between the reliability and the performance at that point. Now, the engine itself, I think this bike, don't take me wrong, I'm loving this bike. I'm in love with this thing, but it's kind of botched. If you've seen my older video, you know why. If you haven't seen it, the comparison between the T700 and the Super Tenere 750, 30 years old bike. That bike was built differently and slightly better than this, besides the technology and all the new materials and on new stuff. But the engineering in the old one was more extensive than this. This engine has been adapted, I call it bodged, into this frame. Is it a good engine? Oh, it's a fantastic engine. It's beautiful. The character of this engine, it compensates for the lack of power, let's call it this way. Now, do I think this engine should have more power? No. In the whole season of racing, I may have wanted maybe 2-3 times tiny bit more horsepower, maybe 10 horsepower more, nothing on that. However, I would not trade the even 10 horsepower more, even 30 horsepower more against the reliability. This engine is mega reliable, it's bulletproof, everyone knows this, and this is something I love about the motorcycles. Worry about modifying all the stuff, not crashing and not breaking it, but it will not break on its own, and it's very difficult unless you smash it up. So that's my thing. It's bodged, but it's too much to talk about. What I'm saying is bodged together. It's not as it should be. This is not the engine for this type of motorcycle, although the character of the engine is perfect for this type of motorcycle. The structure of the engine is not. Go to see my previous video, you're gonna understand why. I'm actually explaining the why exactly, proving, not explaining, because it's not just an opinion, it's truth. So what I did, obviously, again, I removed the fuel tank, put it in the back. So what I did, ergonomics wise, I am free to move on a motorcycle. I can go forward, I can move on the bike almost as easy as on a dirt bike. This is still a big, heavy bike. Yes, it's not 200 kilograms anymore. It's much lighter than the standard one. However, the biggest difference on this bike and the way it rides is it doesn't come from the weight loss. It comes from the weight distribution. Now, I've kind of compensated the engine weight, which is pretty high, because the head is about here. On a KTM, it's just about there. So there is quite a big difference. Everyone knows this. So I compensated that with removing the 16 liters of fuel, including the tank, from there and put it under the seat. Now, do not think that's on the back, because on the back is only these parts here, because in the middle is empty. Majority of the fuel sits here under your ass, on the top of the shock absorber. So it's in a pretty good position. Would it be better if it's here? Well, of course, will be maybe even slightly better. But I find out that if I have my fuel here, my battery, all the electrics everything has been modified. There's no ABS, there's ABS module. So without the ABS original module, I still have my dash working, everything is perfect. I have my speed and everything, so all works as standard. No engine lights on. I can actually show you. Let's put it in place. The speed. There you go. Everything works. So yeah, it's all the electrics have been modified, and all the electrics of the motorcycle are inside a plastic box. You can see it from there. Yes, it's held together by zip ties, and no, I'm not going to improve it. I've done it quickly as a prototype, but turns out it works absolutely beautiful because it's not completely sealed. It means that if I go in if I put myself in a trouble in deep water, the water goes in, not quickly, but it will go in, but also will go out as quickly as you went in. So no electronic components are deep in the water. If that was sealed, it's very difficult to keep the water outside of the stuff, especially when you have a lot of wires going in and out, in and out. It's very difficult. I would rather this way, because the water per se will not break your electronics. It will have to be submerged. It's not the water, it's the minerals, it's the dirt inside, and when the muddy water goes inside the electrical contacts, like on the starter motors, for example, when it drains, the water drains out and leaves that kind of like a patina effect or a bit of mud between the contacts. That what causes the problems. Of course, the water with minerals and all the stuff, the salts, that they are conductive, then they're not good for electronics either. But quickly, if you spray it, splash it, or whatever, no issues whatsoever. I mean, this bike has been tested for nearly 2 years now, extensively, because I'm not really that good of a rider, and everything is just absolutely beautiful. I'm checking it every time, and there was not a single improvement to have been done, not a single improvement needed to be done. So I'm 100% happy with that. So that's as the ergonomics goes. So obviously the motorcycle is much slimmer, much kind of smaller if you put it against an MT7. That's true. That makes a huge difference. And I was saying that it's actually good that the fuel is here and the electronics are here, because then the weight distribution on this is actually 50-50 now. I'm not sure what's the perfect combination, if more weight on the front, more weight on the back, whatever, but I find it very tunable now with suspensions. So for example, if I move my back wheel back or forth, the bike is very sensitive on that. Of course, every bike is sensitive on that, but I find that on this, it really is sensitive. I can change the dynamics of the motorcycle quite a lot. For example, now I find my sweet spot, because this bike is actually about 300 mil ground clearance. Exactly, you hit it exactly, 300 mil. I'm gonna explain in a minute how I've done it. And the seat height is about 92 centimeters. So it's not bad, because 92 centimeters is actually a standard T7 with a rally seat on it, which is very comfortable. However, now I lower it a little bit. So what I did, I lowered it by 20 mil on the back, and because it's 25 millimeter taller, or 30 about, because I have my tractive shock absorber. This is the longest version. This is the version that gives you more wheel travel, 225 or 230, something like this. We modified that extensively as well. So it's you put the lower railing, but actually the bike is still higher as the chassis goes. Now the forks I have from Boano Race Pass, the Kayaba kit, 48 mil, big triple clamps. I like those from them. But that's all I like about Boano. I used to price them quite a lot, and then, you know, we opened the forks and we found out a horror, to be honest, and it's half a scam, really. I've shown that I talk about it in all the video about it, and I don't want to do it anymore because we fixed it. We've done the proper revalving. We put the correct oil. We put the correct spring. We put a correct non-plastic spring retainers because they fail and they don't recognize it as there's something that they have to do. They should be doing in a warranty, because, you know, the plastic retainers on the springs on those forks, they're not good, not even for the YZ450 or 250, because they break. So everyone knows this, and everyone puts something better. And they left it on 200 kilograms motorcycle, which they say is good for travel. So 200 kilograms motorcycle, 2 people on a panniers and all this stuff, how much does that weight? And you lift something like this. Now, a friend of mine, we've done together second round of the British Rally Championship, and he has just fitted those forks on, and they collapsed at the first race within half an hour, I think, at the beginning. Collapsed, obviously, because the wheel collapsed and everything. It broke the radiator, broke the fender, broke a lot of stuff, and they didn't recognize it as a warranty. They said, well, actually, they did recognize it as a warranty. They say, yeah, no problems, it's under warranty. There's your 30% of discount on our shop if you want to, you know, fix it yourself. That's all it is. That's no warranty, that's bullshit. But that's enough of this. Forks has been done now, proper for my weight, for my liking. The guy who done it is, you can see it, I think you can see it, can you? Yeah. T-Tech Suspension. He's a guy from London. He done a very good job. He took obviously the forks apart with me being there, so we saw exactly what happened. We took the shock apart. Tractive is actually it's a very good shock absorber, especially the extended one. However, there is a big room for improvement, and if you want to do it, T-Tech Suspensions London, he knows how to do it, because I think his official Tractive, I can't remember. He's very clever. He's really, it works much better. I have more travel because the bump stop was too big and too heavy for the weight of the motorcycle and all the stuff. He extended my front wheel travel to full 300 millimeters. I didn't have to, but he gave me that more. Also, the forks are way more progressive now. They actually plushie the first about 50 mil. Is amazing. It's very comfortable. I know it copies with all the rocks and all the stuff you can encounter. But then when you jump in and hit something hard, they're way more progressive now. I still didn't find the bottoming. Actually, there is a market that you can see it from here. You see how true it is? So I haven't actually bottomed out. I have to clean them actually now. I haven't bottomed out at all yet, and there is a more resistance, more hydraulic resistant braking before it bottoms out. So it's good. It's very good. I'm very happy with that. So that's suspensions department. So I have about 235 wheel travel on the back. Well, that's supposed to be with the standard shock absorber, well, with the standard Tractive, but now it's modified. I think we have something a little bit more, but I cannot be sure. I don't want to talk crap. So, but that's plenty. Now, I was worried that it will not balance out the motorcycle because it's 300 on the front, only 235 about on the back. But no, it actually is good. With the right settings, is very good. I feel just even if you jump or whatever, it's good. It's good. I like it. Okay, so now let me put some light here. I removed the oil heat exchanger, oil to water heat exchanger, and I put a proper Mocha oil cooler, which is dirty now, with the proper fittings and high pressure fittings and all the stuff. I had to modify the headers. The headers are already aftermarket stainless, but I had to modify them anyway because I want them to go as far to the right as possible and away from the oil lines for obvious reasons. And that proved to work very good. The way I know it is that I don't. Yamaha does it. So I don't have a gauge for the oil temp. and I kind of don't want to put it on because it will just distract me. But if Yamaha does it on the Boturi and Tires bikes for the Africa Eco Race, you know, if it's good for them, it's more than good for me. I probably don't even need it. Most likely I don't need it because we're in UK and hot weather is not very much of an issue here. But it's like, hell, why not? I want to do it. Let me do it. So I've done it. Just because I know there is improvement there, and so this is what I did, because that removes the potential issue with, I don't think Yamaha have that issue, but sometimes the heat exchange between oil and water, they like to give up, and you have either oil or water intrusion into one another sometimes. So that's already that issue eliminated before it even arises. And I know it's just good. Of course, it takes slightly longer to warm the oil up, but then it keeps it more stable, so it stays alive longer. Not that I care too much because I'm changing oil every 2 races anyway, if not every race. So this bike, yeah, I probably change the oil as often as on the dirt bikes. Absolutely not necessary. When I remove it, it's still good. But I want to remove the oil before it actually degrades, when it's still okay. Bash plate obviously has been modified. This thing, the mesh, the stainless mesh, is actually making a huge amount of difference, because a lot of mud was packing inside there between the engine and the bash plate, and between the headers and the engine. And remember that the engine actually cools down not just with the radiators, but it does cools down with the air surrounding the engine. Even these covers, they're not actually good to cooling the engine down, so it's a compromise. So yeah, keeping that clean, it definitely helped to keep the bike cool. I definitely saw a huge difference. High fender, when you put a high fender, it's good to put this kind of vanes. If you see them, they kind of chopped and put down this way. So the mud flying from the wheel going up, it will not go in, but the air from the going obviously from here, it will go through and hit the radiator. So that definitely helps. Yes, I've seen quite a big of a difference, so that's good. I got a sensor here for the ICO, but that's for the road book for the different naphtha. With SM Pro Platinum front and back. I did weight them up because at speed, especially on the road, you do feel the difference. I'll see why not. They are plenty strong. Mousses from the back, desert mousse on the back, front, I do not remember how it's called, but whatever, it's good. Tires, I found Mitas or Miatas, I think it's Mitas, yellow front and back, I think is a good balance. I think the best tires were the Michelin Enduro medium front and back. However, this bike was chewing that tire up way too quick. Then I've tested, I had a Metzler 6 days. It was okay, but I hated that tire on the wet tarmac. Obviously, every knobby tire on the wet tarmac is not great, but there is a huge difference between the Mitas, Metzlers and the Pirellis on the wet tarmac. You still want some stability, you still want some security, you still want to be able to brake the bike to slow down or to accelerate without sliding like mud everywhere. And Metzlers, they were the worst. They were horrible. I was afraid to touch the throttle. Mitas, they're okay. They're predictable. It will still go away, but it's predictable. Pirellis, they were fantastic. I think Pirellis were superior to everything, everywhere, literally. A little bit more expensive than Mitas. Mitas is slightly below, and I think the next one, as soon as I'm gonna finish the front, I'm gonna put why I say Pirelli? Sorry, Michelin Enduro Medium. I'm gonna refit the Michelin Enduro Medium on the front, and then I'm gonna put Mitas EF07 yellow, which they are both Terraforce. On the back, I think that is a great balance for this bike. It does not chew it up too quickly. It has plenty of grip on the wet tarmac. On dry tarmac, we all know, it's just slides and fans and driftings, and is great. Is the wet tarmac we have to be scared of on the knobby tires on 200 kilograms bike. Off-road, fantastic. Very, very close to Michelin Enduro Medium, if not the same. Yeah, could be almost the same. There's a tiny bit difference maybe, but almost nothing. So that's my combo. Front, yeah, I will probably get the Enduro Medium Michelin just because, yes, a tiny bit better, I think. So that's my opinion on the tires. Single brake conversion, left throttle, standard one, absolutely beautiful, standard caliper, beautiful, braided line, straight into the pump, but the secret is in the pump. Why is it 250 or 450 pump? That is the secret. Braided properly, bonded, obviously the brakes to the disc properly is fantastic. Is as strong, if not stronger than the dual disc, but is way more modular. Now, if I were going travel with my missus and panniers, no, I will leave 2 discs on the front. You say, okay, why? When the single disc is stronger, it's because of the engine. It's because of the brake fade. In this case, this will overheat quicker. It will use the brake pads twice as quick. Not necessary. Dual discs on a standard motorcycle use are perfect. Off-road use, single disc is, you try it, you will never go back. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, how I raise the motorcycle ground clearance by about 30 millimeters. It's very simple. Well, it's not very simple, but it's simple actually. So the sump itself, I shaved the bottom of the sump about 8 millimeters. Now it doesn't have to be, but 8 millimeters, 8 or 12, 8 millimeters is absolutely spot on. Is good. It's safe because now the sump is still above the top of the bash plate, and the bash plate, as you can see, is actually resting on the frame rails. Now, usually on the bottom of the rail frames, you have tabs sticking out that much, and then you have the bash plate going on the angle and down, far away that much from the sump and all the stuff. It sticks down quite a lot, about 30 mil more than it is now. By shaving that sump just tiny bit and removing those tabs, blah, blah, allows me to do this. Now, this is, I think this was a 70-75 grade alloy, if I'm not wrong, on the bottom. Is a different grade than this one. This is soft, wasn't really good, but I wanted GP Mucci bash plate, and we were talking. He was like, look, I would really like my bash plate on your bike. And I was like, man, I would love one of yours. So yeah, hit me up. But obviously a couple of things that have to be changed because it's in a different position. My plastics are in a different position on the standard. He was like, yeah, no problems, I can send you one. But then he's busy, I'm busy, and then it never happened. So I was at the stage when the bash plate had to be modified. It was like, you know what, fuck it, let me do this one. So I improved this one. I have different mounts. So this is a mount on a frame that doesn't exist as a standard. I want it because it's side shock. I need a mesh like this in the front of this radiator as well, because this does the job and this packs with the mud. Anyways, there is another one here, obviously on the opposite side, exactly the same. Now, the whole bottom end rests actually on the frame rails, and there is a big, the center stand, I think there's a big mount on in the middle of the chassis on the frame, and I'm using that mount there, obviously to keep everything stable, but everything actually rests on the frame. I did test it, and it's fantastic. Now, ground clearance, I say, okay, 30 mil taller. Does it feel like? Do you feel a difference? Hell yes. Hell yes. If you're doing sketchy stuff, yes, it does make a difference. Pegs, these are just, cheap 35 quid Chinese eBay for WR and YZ 450. Fantastic. Whole season. They've been beaten up, losing obviously all this stuff, but I love them. The moment I have to take them off, I'm gonna, get the same ones. Actually, I have to get the same ones because this is a bit loose now because it took so much heat. I actually bent the bracket. I had to go to Yamaha get another bracket, one of these, because it was bent, and even the pivot here was bent as well. But this stays the same. It took some obviously a bit more play, but it's still doing great. So it's fantastic. It's great. I would like to reposition my side stand, but so far it wasn't so bad. It's fine. You know, I'm not gonna do so much work just to reposition this from here to here, whatever. Just leave it there. It's fine. If I had to reposition, I would have to be somewhere there, so it's kind of like hiding between these, where the swing arm has this recess here under the fuel tank like a dirt bike, so I'm not catching with my boot anymore. I removed this, you know, the pivot to lower it down because I was catching my boot anyway. As a sensor goes, there's no sensor here. There's no sensor. The bike actually can start in gear. There's no safety. There's no clutch safety, nothing. Everything removed because the less the stuff you have, the less stuff can break. So that's very simple. Gearing, I find out that a good balance is a 48 mil sprocket on the back, so 48 tooth sprocket on the back, and actually standard on the front. I do have a 14 tooth on the front. That makes it very responsive. That's very good for, I always say if I enter the British Rally Championship this year, I'll probably put a 14 on the front as well, because it makes it very good in a tight enduro stuff, you know, because you're probably never going to have to use first gear, and if you have to, it's very tractor-like, which this bike already is. But yeah, it gets everything shorter, so the selection of the gear is just shorter. There's otherwise 48 instead on the front. Fantastic for a little bit of everything, you know, green laning, just go out with your mates, road, racing, fast flowing stuff is put on. Some people were asking, because I had from Boano the frame stiffness, and it takes the frame from here to the engine, from the engine to the front, and also grabs the engine mounts that usually are not used on this bike and connects them to the frame as well. Do I feel it? I do not, because I don't know how the bike was working before, because what I did, I've done everything together, suspensions and the whole bike build together with the frame stiffness. I guess they work. How much? Do you feel a difference? I just cannot tell. I'm sorry, I don't know. I guess they do, but how much? I don't know. Lights, okay, lights on the back. This is just generic eBay stuff for the dirt bikes. It works perfectly because it has exactly the same shape as the KTM 690 2021 rear fender as the seat, because this is exactly what I'm using, because this actually fit the frame over here, my tank, and obviously all of this. So, and already has this place for the fuel tank cap, so it was perfect. Also added this one, the top light. This one here actually sealed it, because these lights, you think they waterproof and they say they waterproof, but they actually not. Trust me, neither this or this one, they not waterproof. So take them apart, you know, put some silicone sealant and, you know, join them and get it. Otherwise, you're gonna have water inside. Now, these ones, they both lights and stop lights. This one is required for the rallies, for the big rallies, not required in UK, but it was like, you know what, let's put it on anyway. Now this one here is designed, if I kick it, it will come off, but it will never break. So it will stay there on the wires, reinforced wires, and then you can just pop it back in, which is, yeah, we found out that the other day when we get out with the boys, and yeah, I was a bit stiff, and it happened that there was a corner, and I rode in muddy corner, and I didn't make it. So I went straight into the bushes, and this fucker came off. And people were like, oh, you number plate, you fender. It's like, no, don't worry, just kick it back in, and it's fine. So that's a good feature. The bike actually ends up here, where if you can see actually before the real center of the wheel, before the wheel axis, about 2-3 inches before. This is the end of the bike. So the last year when I crashed, when I lost the championship, because otherwise I think I should have been on the podium at least in my class, but I lost it because I crashed badly. The bike flipped itself and hit this with the ground there. This bracket here was slightly bent, and I said it's not too strong. Again, everything is designed to be strong when it should be strong, but also to give up when it have to give up, so the bigger stuff doesn't break. And so far it's working fabulously. I mean, this fuel tank, it took so much abuse, but the whole bike took so much abuse, but it takes it just beautifully. Nothing breaks, nothing is just, it's just, I have no words. Okay, so the nav tower, this one here, I just modified today. I put the side screens. They actually, the original ones, just upside down, and they actually, I think, work out quite all right. The bike is still dirty. Before it was just this, without this. And I have 3 of these lights. Let me put them on. So, sorry. Okay, so this one here, one is not working, it's not connected. Is one white and one yellow, because yellow one is for dust and fog situation. Oh, Jesus, they are bright. But also you can see, probably can see over there, but there's a slight pattern. They have kind of like a rectangular pattern, so they don't blind cars. If you're on the road, they don't blind people coming from the other side. And then if you switch it to high, and that's high, this is this one, or you can have them both. So, you know, it's, but they're good enough. Honestly, they're just good enough. Period. There's nothing else to say. This is the smaller navigation tower. This is my Enduro one. But I think when I use it most of the time now, even for the rally stuff, and I'll explain in a second why. I have my carpet support, the mount with the carpet. Well, this is not a carpet tablet, because I bought the tablet from the actually factory that makes them. Carpet don't make them, even if they say they don't. I hate when company says that. You know why? Don't lie. You know, everything. You are a great company. You know, Carpet. The mount is fantastic. I have no regrets. It's absolutely beautiful. The tablet is great. I didn't like the fact that they had a secondary port and all the stuff for the tablet, for the original Carpet, which is not the original, because the original one is actually this. Because that one, it sticks out, and if you have a branches, it can actually come off. I don't like it. Plus, they said that you have to have an additional power supply to charge the tablet, because in the sunshine, you have to run your brightness completely up, you know, all of it, because if not, you won't be able to see it. So, and that consumes the battery quite a lot, which fair enough. But so there are 2 pins behind the tablet, positive and negative, that charges, but it's not enough. You have to add a secondary power supply. But that's bullshit, because all you have to do is to order the tablet, because that's what they do. They order the tablets from the company. It actually comes from America. I can, if you're interested, just let me know. I can, you know, forward you whatever they call it. I think it's Xenarc is a military. The company makes usually stuff for the military. So this is great. It's very expensive, but it's a good tablet. Well, Jesus, sometimes I'm stupid. Well, most of the times. Anyways, that's better. Let me turn this light off. It's gonna be in the camera. So all they had to do is order the tablet with the anti-glare film on the top. Now, last summer, worst condition possible. Sun was on the top, shining right into it. My brightness was at the lowest level. Now, when I'm using this on Enduro, I don't even, well, now it charges automatically, but if I had it on another bike I have in training, I put the whole nav tower on there as well, because they are actually interchangeable with my Husky. Because I welded on my Husky frame the same mount that I have on the headstock on my T7. So all my nav towers, they're interchangeable. I can remove it from my T7 and put it in my Husky, which is great. I'm using this one. So on the Husky, I use this with no charging point. Why? Because I don't need it. Because the whole day, I will consume about 30-35% of battery on my tablet, running GPS, you know, all the maps and everything. So there you go. There's a proof. Just think. I don't like when people don't do a proper development. They find something very good, blah, blah, put it on the market, sell some shit, sell it. No, do development like we do. We spent 2 years into development before releasing all the products. It's I don't like it. Anyways, enough of the rant. That's the enough tower. I added this today with this. It makes everything be more stable. Even this, I kind of like it. I don't know if it's gonna work for the wind deflection or mud deflection. I don't know. I added my first eye kit over here. I don't know. I'm gonna test it, I guess, next race, which is in 3 weeks time, I guess. So that works. Bars are standard Husqvarna. Standard Husqvarna bars are actually low bend, and I absolutely love it. It's great. It's very good. What else? The steering damper, it's a bit shit, but this bike, it needs very little steering damper effect. So even the shittiest one you can find on eBay, it still does the job. On my Husky, I got a copy of the Scots, the Savage, whatever you call it. It's fantastic. It's actually very good. I think I'm gonna probably put one of those on this bike as well, just because. So there you go. For the cables, once in a while, change them. They're pennies. I think they're 35 quid or whatever. Change them. Same with the clutch cable. Once after a while, if it gets so hard, change it. It will change your bike drastically. It gets walls slowly, so you don't feel a difference. Once in a time, just change it. And the clutch, you're gonna thank me. Just do it. Clutch cable and throw the cables. Very easy to change. You can do it yourself. On the clutch, I have my YZ old. I think this is 2005 YZ support with modified levers. And honestly, I can pull this with my pinky, one finger, even when you tie it. But I also have this lever extended. Now this one, obviously you can buy it. Many companies do it as well. From Camel, ADV does it. I have the brake pedal, which is absolutely great. On this bike, the rear brake is actually too sensitive. I'm not shitting you. I have to be very gentle and very careful not to lock the back wheel because it's so easy. Because again, I removed all the ABS, all the pipes, so there is less oil dampering because there's less volume between the master cylinder and the calipers. So it's fantastic. A little bit too much. There is an empty space here because I actually removed my navigation after, because that used to be there. This with this. So there you go. But now I'm gonna probably only use that with the electronic Bluetooth one from Carpeter. Again, very good. I just don't like the fact that I lie about the tablet, but that's all. This is the way it looks from top. Let me see, you can see it. And yeah, the bike is absolutely love it. Exhaust again is custom made. I've made it pretty much entirely myself by now because even the aftermarket ones are both. It was from Black Widow stainless. It was good. Headers, they were actually pretty good. The welding was good, all TIG welded, but I had to modify it anyway because it's Tula is in a different place because it was hitting the bash plate otherwise. All this is completely different. My silencer this is a genuine Krapovic titanium, very light. It has a catalytic converter inside, so it's kind of road approved if it had a DB killer, which it don't. Carbon fiber, this is very light. This is actually probably lighter than this small eBay one, but it's been taking some abuse, as you can see. I mean, this is getting softer now as well. Sorry, excuse me. Now this bracket here has this screws because there's another bracket that goes here, and I can remove this and I can put this one on. Now this one has a different, this is the enduro one. This is for the sketchy stuff. It goes from here, on the top here, underneath of the fuel tank, and is actually behind the bracket. So there's no more hitting the exhaust when you crash, when you come off, and there's no more exhaust hitting the swing arm, which I did, but I did repair one because when I was rebuilding the bike, I took the swing arm completely off, and I don't know if you can see it, but there is it used to be like a rubber grommet inside the swing arm. This is for the casting because obviously there's a lot of openings actually on the swing arm. There are like 3 or 4 inside where the shock absorber is. Inside, there's 2 of them there. There's 2 of them inside here, inside the swing arm. all of them have been blanked. So what I did, I filled them up. So I cut pieces of aluminium in exactly the same shape and weld them around. This is exactly the same modification that Yamaha does on tires and Boturis Africa Eco race bikes. I've seen them when I was at the BF Festival. It was like, ooh, that's something I want of mine. Do I need it? No. Do I want it? Of course. So I did. So that's good. Now, there's no ABS on the bike, obviously. The sensor is still there on the wheel. This is the one that picks the speed up, and no problems there. People put protection there. Mine is still fine. This is a heat shield sleeve on the ABS, ABS, the speed sensor now, and the brake hose, because the other exhaust gets quite close there, but no problems there so far. The bash plate has been modified. You see I have this slip over here. Now this is different grade aluminum than this. This is soft. Again, mounting point there, so you can bash it as much as you can. Over here, protects the water hoses, water pipes. I didn't change them for the silicone ones. I absolutely don't need them at this point. Plus this one here kind of make a triangle here, so it makes everything stiffer, and also removes or kind of deviates the rocks or branches away from the brake pad, because you see the brake pad already been hit and bent. This is stainless bracket. Trust me, this is a strong one. So I was a pretty tough hit over here, but the pedal itself is fantastic. Nothing wrong with it. So that works. What else on this side of the bike? I think this is it. Bike bristers, obviously, that's genuine. You know, bike bristers, everyone knows them. They, you know, one of the best ones. They're just good. They took so much abuse, and you know, if they fail, I mean, this is bent now. That one is bent. This is probably 4th time I bend them. But when I say I bend them, don't think they bend lightly. They take some abuse to bend, but then you can actually bend them back a few times, because it's a good quality aluminium. And if they, you know, bend to the point I cannot bend them back, or they get weaker, I change them. I buy exactly the same handguards. You know, no doubt. The bash plate has been modified on this side as well. Again, exactly the same thing. Kind of reinforce it between this and this, because I want this to be to protect my engine case, but also deviates everything that could break this. If my gear lever obviously goes back, so it's very difficult to break it. But yeah, I thought that's a good thing. You know, it'll be all right. It'll be okay. Reservoir, don't know. Expansion tank. No reservoir is needed or not. I put it on just in case, because I have no water in my coolant now. I have the waterless coolant, which is supposed to expand less and keep the bike cooler, which, yes, I found that is true. I put it on and it does cool the engine better. And because it expands less, it doesn't need an expansion tank. However, when I'd done it, I think a few days after, my radio cap went a bit weak and it started to leak. I think started losing pressure. So it was like, well, you know what, let me put this back on just in case. But it actually didn't fill up at all. So I think it's not needed. But I'll leave it there. It doesn't disturb me. It's fine. Just leave it. I said these frame protectors, because again, boots, you know, you scrape the frame, because everyone knows that T7 frames, they rust very quickly. There's no protection on it. There's a very thin layer of lacquer, and that's it. So over this winter, this frame is supposed to be sent to be powder coated, but it's business. I'm not gonna do it. Probably next season. What else there is to the bike? I think that's it. The air filters, I think I told you this about these ones. They're on top here. So the top filter, so I have 2 of them. Each of them is a KN, is actually the biggest KN filter you can buy for the T7. But this one has 2 of them. So each of them are much bigger than the standard one, times 2. And the foam you see on the top here, this is just a pre-filter. It's on the top. Inside, I have trumpets, kind of like a velocity stacks to stabilize the flow to go through, and also protects the bike from water, because you see this is not an enclosed air filter box. It's quite open. So if the water goes from here, or it's raining or mud, or even if you clean it, say, oh, it will go through and you suck that water into the engine. No, the way it's designed, this bike can stay under the rain endlessly. It will never drip inside the engine, because on the bottom of that there is actually a cover. This is how the KN filters are made. So the water has to go from the side, but from the side there is no direct access to the engine. It will have to go inside, all around the velocity stack, and then on top of the velocity stack, or trumpet, if you want to call it this way. So the other day I've dropped it away in the water, and it was like, no, it was fine. It was fine. So it has been tested. This shit is, it's good. I'm gonna probably reprofile it. I want it a little bit taller, a little bit more padding on top here, just to make it a little bit more straight, less curve here, because now I think it's 875 millimeters to the seat. Because again, like I said, I lowered the bike by about 20 mil on the back and about 10 mil on the front. As you can see, this is the limit. Because now if I really go on the bottom end, like end of the bottom end, my tire will actually hit the fender inside. It shouldn't be nothing dramatic, shouldn't break anything, but it will go in contact. But that's on the very bottom end, on the end of the bottom end. So it should be okay. On the back, I've tested, it's still fine, and it's still safe. So the seat is at 875 millimeters. 875 millimeters. Yes, that's correct. 75, 880 roughly. So it's pretty low, which is very good on technical stuff when you can put your foot down. It's not necessary, but I find that it's, if you're tired and relaxed, it's good. The ground clearance now is 275. So I did lost that about 30 mil roughly. It's a bit high, but it doesn't matter. Depending on dampering, the suspension spring and settings, but it's roughly there. Full height, it will be 392 or whatever on the seat height, somewhere about there. But both cases is good. But I found this a very good spot, because when you lower the bike on the back or on the front, you changing the frame geometry, the headstock, angle, the forks angle, the swing arm angle. I find this now at the very, very sweet spot. Knobby tires, I can do 6-gear limiter, whatever she does, because I don't know, again, T7 speed or lies, everyone knows this. I didn't check what the top speed of the bike is, I don't care. Knobby tires on the tarmac, it's fantastic. It's very, very stable. One hand, don't need to, even if you change directions, is fantastic. Off-road, exactly the same, but at the same time, it's still fairly quick to go in the corners. Before, I had it a little bit too stable because the front was raised. The back was as it was, but it was raised. And I had too much angle on the forks. It was not aggressive enough to go in a corner. It was quite slow. Plus the bars, the Boano gives you these rises. They're too big, too tall. I mean, I can lower these bars by 20 mil at least, and I kind of want to, but I want to modify these, but you can't. If you take them apart, you understand why. I need to add something different, bit lower. It's too tall. You want to lower. However, when that was completely raised, the back was in this position. It just didn't want it to go in the corner quick enough. It kind of struggled, especially up the hills when you even open the front even more. It's didn't like it, but now it's fantastic. I don't think I can improve this bike anymore. I think this is it. So over the next season, the moment I have a time, I want to rebuild the fuel tank properly. So I know this works. Now the new fuel tank will not be changed at all. The mounting points, I may change them. I may put them directly on the frame here, just to make it cleaner and neater, just refined, not quick like this as just a prototype. And we trying to work with my brother with the CAD designs to be able to reproduce them, because I want to have another fuel tank with me in the van when I'm going racing, just in case, this has been abused so much. I have full faith in it, but come on, you know, it's a custom bit. If you break it, then I have to make another one. So before that happens, if it happens, I want to have a replacement already in the van, just in case. They still take standard fuel pumps, standard senders, so the fuel level shows, again, no line. There you go. As your fuel level, and it works like standard. Well, actually it doesn't work like standard. Like standard one is a bit wonky because everyone knows you probably remove 3/4 of the fuel tank before it actually shows you anything going down. This is exactly the same, but it's amplified because it's not 16 liters. It's actually 15 liters in a standard fuel tank, not 16. If you have it at 7, you understand why. This is actually 25.5 liters, and it takes all 25.5 liters. So being bigger, that fuel gauge is exactly the same, but it's just obviously amplified. You know, the 3/4 of the fuel tank is more fuel, so you're gonna have to wait longer till it actually shows you that it's going down. But if it's your bike, you know where you are. That's not a problem at all. People moaning about this stuff, but just live with it. Just, you know, these bikes have a character. No bike is perfect, and a perfect bike would be boring. Tell you, it's nothing to do to it. You'll be just perfect. No, we don't like perfect. You know. What else? I think this is it. There's nothing else to say about the bike. It's I spent a lot of time and money on this. Do I regret this? Absolutely not. I have a dirt bike now. I got a Husky 350, and I've done 10 hours on it, and I'm so excited. It's so easier. It's so easy. It's so nimble. I was like, well, the T7 is redundant now. I don't want to race with the T7. Blah blah blah. That is so easy. You can, when it falls, you can pick up with one hand. You know, it's. But then I've jumped on a T7 again. I fired up. It's like, oh, I cannot sell this thing. Plus, no one will pay me the money for it. I'm keeping it. We're gonna do next season. Not sure if we're gonna race next season. If we do gonna race with champions, we're gonna choose, because Sweet Lamp is great. It's a fantastic event, but it's just a little bit too easy. It's all fast and speed, and to be first, to be on the podium or to be at the front, you really have to, go fast. Not be good at. Just go fast. Of course, you have to be good at going fast, but you know what I mean? It's just, who takes most of the risk? All right, last round I broke my ribs, but that was just stupid. I wasn't taking the risk. I actually wasn't taking any risk because it was bad conditions. It was just misjudged the corner completely. I remember the corner was different, and I was just stupid. So that's Sweet Lamp. It's a great event. It's an awesome event. My wife wants to go there because it's just nice place, nice food, nice camping site. Just everything is just nice about it. People are nice. It's very relaxed. The British Rally Championship, that's the one I would prefer to do because it's tough on a big bike. It's difficult. And I loved it. So if we're doing anything, I think we're going to do that. But if the business permits me to actually race again this season, because there's so much to do. So I'm thinking maybe I'm just going to train. We're just going to go out with boys, like, I know, some enduro parks. Last year I haven't done any motocross stuff, which bothers me. I say, motocross, especially with the new suspensions, at least a little. Of course, you can't fly with this stuff like on a dirt bikes, I know, but still, develop some skills. Enduro parks, definitely more green laning, more exploring, absolutely, because now I'm getting the hang on my tablet, and I like this for exploring and TED and all this stuff. I'm finding more and more pleasure to just go out and explore with people, because, I don't know, I just kind of like it more and more. And racing, I've done racing last season, but primarily I've done racing to learn and to teach myself skills to be ready for the big rallies, big long distance rallies. I'm ready for that. I just don't have the money and time. So I have to do something in between. Now, let me explain you why I think I'm going to keep that instead of this. This is much bigger, much heavier because of this, the equipment, and the light is bigger, not necessary, but this lighting is absolutely fantastic. You know, I have the 2 of these on my van, and it's literally a day in front of you. It's just too much. This is heavier. This is too tall. It's still good. This is in good position. However, I've dropped the bike and actually went naphtha in the water first. The water went inside. The paper went wet. And that started my problems. Now, I was lucky. I was about 20, 50 kilometers before the end of this event, navigation event with the rally moto. Course was very easy to run, extremely easy, but they still didn't manage to come off and put the bike in the underwater. Stupid moron. The water went in, the paper went wet, obviously stopped working, and I was like, shit. I was always prizing these road books for the reliability against the electronic stuff. So I had to take it off. I have to dry it. I couldn't take it off and just, you know, get the water out. I have to get some clothes and stuff to get the water out. A good job I had a rag, so I was just water in, one out. But the road book was done. You know, 75% of it was gone. I was lucky that the part that was wet and unusable, it was the part I already did. The rest was almost good enough to navigate. After 2 or 3 notes, I found my pace, I found where I was, and it was okay, thanks to other riders. But yeah, that would be the end of the race. But if that happened with that fucker, you can submerge that, you can use that underwater. This is not water resistant, that is water proved. That thing can work underwater. So I used to hate electronic stuff in comparison to the full mechanical stuff, but now, I don't know. If the electronic is a good electronic stuff, I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with that for a moment, and this we'll see. I'm probably gonna transfer my ICO anyway, just to have, you know, because that obviously takes. Well, I have. Actually used it here for the other, you know, bike events, but I have the controller here, the old school one from the same company. This is a Bluetooth one, but also this has an adapter, like 2 or 3 wires to connect somehow. I don't remember how, but to connect the wheel sensor I already have on the T7, and that will send a signal to this, and this then will have the ICO built in the app from the satellites. So, you know, GPS ICO, like you buy one of these, and also the one from the wheel sensor. But it will still have to transmit that signal through Bluetooth. So I don't know. I want to use, you know, my mechanical ICO anyway. It's speed, you know, for the restricted areas, restricted speed areas, and just as a backup or whatever. But maybe the way to go. Will I rebuild a naphtha? Yes, because it took so much abuse and it's unbelievable. And now people asking, how'd you find them? Absolutely awesome. This is cheap to make. This is HDPE, 10 millimeters. You can go up to 12 millimeters. I don't think it's necessary. This is heavy. This took huge abuse, both of them, and they're still fantastic. I made them up quickly. There's people making these. There's Marcus from Everything Tenere. I sent him my old naphtha, and he made his template from that, and he made his own one. He's been happy. There's another guy building them, you know, for himself. He's happy too. It's cheap to buy, it's cheap, it's easy to work on. The structure is very simple because it's just 2 plates. You don't have to go fancy all around, 2 plates. I have lights in between these 2 plates. They fit inside, they're very good. Same lights I got over there. You can integrate big lights, whatever lights you want. I mean, this is the beauty. It's like, it's plastic. It's plastic and it's durable. It's flexible. It doesn't flex enough to vibrate. It absorbs the shocks when you go down, it goes back. Imagine if I crashed the same way I crashed with my plastic naphtha, both of them, and that was a carbon fiber naphtha, that every crash that I bent this and it came back on its own, it would be new naphtha. Where carbon fiber naphtha is about what, 1,000, 15, 2,000 pounds? I don't know. Ridiculous money. Is one use only. Is good for official riders when they have the replacements for free. For us, no. The beautiful thing is, I want this lower. Okay, fuck it. Take it apart, shave it a little, cut it with the angle round it, with the saw, whatever you want to do it with, put it lower. You can modify. You can have three of. This is probably the fifth one I've built. Not expensive at all. Actually, very cheap. So. Yes, I think that is the way. Professional riding, if I had endless money to spend on the bike, to build myself a rally bike, I will still use exactly the same material to build exactly the same way my naphtha was. Because it has been proven by someone who's not very good, which is me, crushing them non-stop. And all is fine. Like absolutely fine. That one has to be rebuilt because is way too much. It's not too much. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm talking shit here. It's not too much. I didn't crush it too much. It's still nice and straight. But I know when I build this, I've done it quickly. I've done it in probably half a day. It's not entirely straight. I've done it like roughly there, drill the hole, put it on. It's been on the piece. Fuck it, it's fine. That's why the tablet is a little bit on the side. But honestly, is absolutely fine. So I think this is more than good. This is, naphtha is covered. I have the USB port just in case, another charging point. All the fittings, so the electrical fittings, the sealed ones. This is the automotive ones, sealed, and they've been fantastic as well. The interchangeable, so all my electrics, all my commands that you change the naphtha, you put the same plugs on, and everything works. I have my lights now. The ignition is off, and they're still working, all of them. Reason for that is because I was thinking that if I'm doing the navigation, I don't want a bike running, I don't want all the systems running. If I need a moment of light, let me read something, let me have a look where I am, let me read this map or whatever, I need some light, I can absorb just the battery for lighting. I don't have to tune all the systems on, the fuel pump and everything. So it's kind of like saving the energy. If it's good mood or not, I don't know. So far has been just more than great. I'm happy with it. So, but you do whatever you want. So as a T7 goes, can I be more happy with this motorcycle? I don't know. I don't think so. It's I think at this stage is the end of the evolution. It's been a year and a half in the working, making, testing, proving, testing, proving, testing, proving again, crashing and improving and improving and improving. And one thing that I'm very surprised is the fuel tank. This is fantastic. I thought I'm gonna have to redesign it, but no, the first time it came out absolutely beautiful. And I love this. This is the part that I actually most proud of. Let me just lower the bike tiny bit. And smash it. If you have your boots, you rest your legs there. So you lock your boots on your pegs. And look, it's like with my knees. This is it. This is just, it's no effort. And I can stay here. I don't have to put on the bars. I said this already a few times. This is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love it. Long distance rally, long distance racing. Even just when you get tired, they really do the job. It's so comfortable, and it's in a position when you really, when you have your legs just behind the perfect position. So this is not on your way when you have to do enduro stuff, when you have to move a lot down the hills. This is not on the way because it's where you put your calves back. But when you lay down for speed, it's just fantastic. So I will not change this fuel tank at all, besides obviously make it nicer, because those welds, come on, I can do 100 times better. This was just a quick knockoff. But still works, The whole season and a half of massive abuse, no problems whatsoever. I think that's it. There's nothing else to say. It's just a fantastic motorcycle. That's it. I do prefer low fender. Unfortunately, low fender probably will not fit, or if it does fit, it will have to be very low profile. That I may fit it in the summer when we have no mud. But with mud, there's no space for it, because again, 300 mil travel on the front wheel, it will hit the low fender, will hit the triple clamp on the bottom, and it will break it on the full wheel travel. So if I'm gonna go to the very end of the bottoming on the forks, so I keep in the front fender, the high fender. High fender also protects all of my radiator. It doesn't pack with mud so much, but again, mud is the only issue. If it's dry, then I may actually modify my low fender to stay a little bit closer to the tire, so it will not hit the triple clamp, because I like it actually more for this kind of motorcycle rally bikes. Anyways, I think it's time to go home now, because my missus will not be happy. Today is actually New Year's Eve, and it's getting dark. I guess it's time to go home. So that's it for this. This is how it looks like. It's all dirty, it's this scratch. When I'm talking abuse, I'm not shitting you. Yes, these are my sponsor. Gurney's Family Butchers in Ledbury. I'm proud to say that I too have a sponsors. Yes, they do feed me a really good meats, and I'm not joking. I was their customers before, and before they became my sponsors, and I'm very happy with that, because it does help. And actually, the diet, when you do something like this, is important too. And so I'm not doing promotional to them at the moment. I will do in the future, but this is not the one. But yeah, I do have another, it's not a sponsor, it's more of a collaboration with the T-Tech suspensions, because I promise you we're going to develop the front end 48 mil kit, because again, we're not happy with Boano, so we're going to do something. He definitely can do something much better than Boano as honesty and internals. Triple clamps, I'm happy with them. I can't lie. They've done good triple clamps. The geometry is fine. I cannot say anything bad. Forks themselves, they don't do it. Kayaba does it. KYB. I call them Kayaba, I don't know how you call it. KYB is a brand new forks. You can buy them. But it's for the money, you should have twice the quality, especially internals, not a cheap knockoff. That really pisses me off. I'm in the same industry, so I really don't like it. Anyways, that's my 2.5 when you say sponsors, and that's it. Hopefully the business is gonna go fine this year, quicker than I'm expecting. I hope so, so I can be my own sponsor. If not, if you want to sponsor me, well, I'm more than happy, but I don't think no one's gonna sponsor this old ass. Anyways, right, enough. I'll see you on the next one.